Hello and welcome to another product introduction video. My name is Oliver Draper, CTO for COP, and the product we're looking at today is the Hikvision Wireless Bridge Kit. Now we've discussed wireless bridge kits before in the past, but again the concept of these are exactly the same. So you want to get a network connection from one location to another, and running an Ethernet cable there is just not viable. This could be that you've got cameras on a lamppost, that you've got power there, but you just cannot get a network connection back, or it could be customers got garden gates or something at the end and they want a camera there, but again, Ethernet cable back is not viable. So essentially, you put one of these at the location where the camera is, where the CP is, and you put the other one back on the customer's premises where the NVR, the main network, is. And it's essentially a wireless wire, it's just beaming that signal back. Now, these particular ones by Hikvision, these are 5 gigahertz up to 867 megabits per second. In addition as well, they have a range of up to 5 kilometers. That's quite a long distance these can transmit at. They do give you a visualized topology, so you can see what the topology graph looks like. And they also have standard PoE in, so they are powered by PoE, a little PoE injector. But the CP one, where the actual camera goes, has PoE out. So it can power the camera from the actual bridge kit itself. And in addition, they are plug and play. That means essentially you get them out the box, you turn them on, put power to them, and they talk to each other straight away. You don't have to do anything to get that connection going. So again, we are going to actually be given a password, we can change the IP details, but out of the box, they are plug and play, and they start talking immediately. So what we'll do, we'll get them out the box, we will power them up, and let's just see how they work. So here's what we actually get in the box. So as I mentioned, it is a kit, so we do get 2 of these devices. Let's just pop one out first of all. Let's take a look. Take out the packet. So straight away in the back of this, we can take a look there. It even tells us where's the wireless bridge, and this is the AP. I.e. this is the one that goes on the customer's network, where the actual NVR is and their home or office network actually is. So that's the first one there. Just going to pop that to one side. And if we take a look at the other one, we'll take this out the packet. And we'll see, this one says it is CPE. So that is the one that connects to the camera that's on the lamppost. So that's what's going to be transmitting back to the other one that's just here. If we look at the back of these, all we do is we lose a little clip there and we slide the cover off. And let's take a look at this one that goes on the customer's premises equipment. So on the inside there, we can see we've got our PoE in, our LAN 1, which is what goes from the PoE injector, which you get inside the box, which obviously powers the device. And then this one here has the LAN 2, it's the PoE out. That's what would connect to your camera. Now, of course, you don't need to use a PoE injector if you don't want to. It has got the option there for a DC input. So that will take a 12 volt, 1 amp power supply as an option. And we'll just pop that one there for a moment. And we'll just take a look at the other one, the one that goes where the customer's network is. So again, take the cover off, it's the same principle. Push the little clip down, slide that off. And we see it is just a little bit, it looks the same, but there's some subtle differences. So again, we've got the PoE in, which goes obviously to the PoE injector, which goes back to obviously this device here. It has got a LAN 2 port, but there is no PoE out on this one. But again, it still does have the 12 volt 1 amp power supply input on there. But again, because this one is going where the customer's premises equipment is, it doesn't need the PoE out on this one. That is what the differences actually are. So of course, in the box, as I just mentioned, you do get the 2 PoE injectors, so that just gets powered by the power cable that you get in there. And then you've got the PoE, which goes to the device itself. And then you've got a LAN, which if it was going on the customer's network, would go back to the customer's network. So what we'll do, we'll get these wired up, powered up, and we'll just see how we commission these. Okay, so now these are wired up how we want them. So we start with our first one over here. This is the one that's connected to, this is our AP, this is what's connected to this switch, which in this sense is my home or office network, essentially. I didn't use a PoE injector, as you saw from the wiring there, because my PoE switch is PoE out anyway, so I'm using the PoE off there, and you can see it's just connected one cable back into my main switch, which of course what my laptop and my network goes back to. Okay, now if we take a look at the lights on the side of it, I'll put the video on their screen for you now so you can see. As you'll notice, we have the power light that's lit up, LAN 1 is lit up, and we've also have our signal strength indicator on the side showing the full signal strength. Right, take a look at the other one. So the other one that I wired up, again, I just used a 12 volt power supply to actually power that one. You saw I did it. I didn't use a PoE injector. Could have done, but again, I've just used a 12 volt power supply in this case. And then what I've done out to the LAN 2 port, which is the PoE out, that is connected to my Hikvision turret camera. Now, if we take a look at the lights on the side, I'll show you now on screen, you'll see that we have the power light lit up, we have the signal strength indicator, the 3 lights there. Nothing on LAN 1, of course, because nothing is plugged into LAN 1, but LAN 2 isn't lit up. So there is nothing coming out the PoE out yet. And that is because it doesn't do the PoE out by default out of the box. We do need to log into it and turn on the PoE out on that device to do that. So, if we take a look at on screen now, you will see that I've got on my laptop screen currently, I've got open the SADP tool. That's that free piece of software that scans your local network and finds any Hikvision compatible devices. And we can see that at the top there are 2 devices there showing as inactive. Those are our, the pair of these access points that we've got here. So we can see the product code there of them both, DS-3WF02-5AC/D. So they're both inactive. But they're both there. So this one over here is not connected to my network in any way at all, but it's there because straight away out the box, these things are talking to each other. Now, if we move across, we can see the 2 different IP addresses of these devices. One ending in .35, one ending in .36. So on the actual back of these devices, it does actually tell you what the default IP actually is. So your AP, i.e. the one that's connected to your main office network, that ends in .35. That's the one at the top of my list. The one ending in .36 is the CPE device. Straight away by default out of the box, they've got their own unique IP. Now, they are showing as inactive, in other words, they haven't got a password to them, so we can't really do anything with them yet, really, other than the fact they are sending the network connection across, which is great. But obviously, we want to sort of commission these things and also get the PoE out turned on the CPE one. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give these both a password for my liking. So I'm going to select both devices. And on the right hand side, I just give them a password of my choice. Pop it once, and pop it in twice. And click activate. Okay, so they're both activated. I've got it there saying select 2 devices I've done. So to click confirm. Great, they're active. As you can see now, they've both got IP addresses that are suitable for themselves. Now, at this moment in time, the IP address of these devices doesn't quite fit my network configuration. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change these IP addresses for both of these devices. So I'm going to start with the CPE one. This is the one that's over here to start with. So I'm going to go with the .36, tick the tick box there. Now I could give it an IP address of my choosing if I knew an available IP address. Just to make my life easier today, I'm going to go DHCP, which is basically going to call into my network and ask for a suitable IP address. Put the password in there so I can make the change. And click modify. Let's see what happens and see what it comes back with. It says it's been completed, which is great. If I just refresh my page, let's just see if it's got a new IP. So we can see that one there now has got one that ends in 113. We know 113 is going to be the far end one. And I'm now going to change the IP address, of course, for my one that's at this end. So again, I'm going to tick the tick box for that one. And the same principle, enable DHCP. And I'm going to put the password in again, just so I can make the change. Click modify. Brilliant. That's it, it's done. Again, if I refresh the page, let's take a look what we've got. Let's sort these by device type. Oh, don't want to scroll across. Let's sort by device type so we can see them. So we've got 114. So 113 where the camera is, 114 where my local one is. So let's download the one that we are at the minute. So let's just double click on the IP address, and that will then open up the web browser for the actual login page to the device itself. So straight away we can see on page there, we know they are access points by the graphic that gives us on screen. The username, of course, is admin, all lowercase, and the password is a password that we've just given this device. And let's click login and take a look. So first of all, when you log in, you've got to specify your country and region. So we're going to select that in there for obviously for the United Kingdom. And then once we've done that, we then also have to, we can't tick the box yet saying I've read the agreements because I haven't read them. So you have to click the blue bit that says the disclaimer, and then you go, yeah, I've read the disclaimer about local laws and regulations. I agree. Now I can tick the tick box and click OK. So I'm at the login page now. I might save the password. It makes my life a little bit easier. And we can see here the details is put straight into the system status and the wireless status. So it tells us the working scene is AP, so that's the access point. So yeah, this is the one that's here right now to our local network. It's showing as the SSID, so that's the wireless name for the device. The wireless mode is the 802.11ac. It's given us a channel. Straight away it said it's indoor. It's quite good, it's detected that. And we've got obviously transmit power, the antenna gain, and we can also see the security mode, which we're using the wireless protected access to pre-shared key. And then below here, connected info. So straight away it said, yeah, I can see a device I'm currently connected to. So look at the IP address at the top, we're logged into 114, and it says I'm currently talking to this device with this IP address ending 113. So straight away there, we can see it showing connected. We can see the receive and transmission rate in megabits per second. We can see the noise frequency, and we can see the uptime, how long it's been connected for. So doing stuff out of the box is not a great deal that we need to do. But let's look at some of the settings and let's just see what's actually going on. So if we go to device information at the top there, yeah, it's the same sort of stuff we've just more or less seen. Again, it has got the firmware version there. Let's go to the basic status. It shows the CPU usage, the memory that's being used, the runtime, the background noise. Go to network status. Again, there's our network information telling us it's working with us in bridge mode, which, yeah, absolutely it is in. Of course, wireless status, we were just in there a moment ago. If we go across to network settings, this is where we could change the network settings if we wanted to. We don't need to. We did that to SADP. So again, don't need to do much on there. We've got the option there for data forwarding. So what do you want to send? So we can filter unicast packets, filter broadcast packets, filter ARP packets, and we can filter SADP packets. So again, we could choose to basically turn those off if we didn't want to see those packets of data. Go across, we've got our wireless network settings. So there's the basic stuff, so there's the SSID. By default, it is set to AP, this one. Don't forget the one was set to CP by default. We can change around if we want to, but we don't need to. The country region is locked now to United Kingdom, the wireless mode. The channel is on 40 megahertz. The channel is set to auto. Again, it just makes things a little bit easier for ourselves. And it is an encrypted connection. It is best to keep it encrypted, of course, because you don't want a password on there so that anyone can just start to jump onto it. If we click on advanced settings, we can see you've got an option there for intelligent frequency management. If I just hover over the eye there, it'll show you there what it means. It's basically if the function enabled, you are not able to set the channel and the channel width manually. So basically, it's going to automatically choose which channel to go on and also what sort of bandwidth to use automatically. And it says there, it is recommended that you disable this function if roaming is needed. So roaming is when basically a device changes from one access point to another seamlessly if the connection becomes weak or unstable. We're not doing that today, so we're not changing between different access points. But general rule, we don't really need to enable that in most of our scenarios. And then if we go across again, we've got the option there for system management. So this is where we can reboot the device, we can change the name of the device, we can update the firmware. So we've gone on to the bottom there, we've got option to obviously import the config file and update the firmware and things of that sort of nature. On the left hand side, we've got our time settings, which are currently going to be default at the minute out of the box because we've not done anything. Again, I can choose to sync that with my computer time, as I've just done there. Or again, you can use an NTP, a network time protocol, basically to ensure it keeps the date and time based on an NTP server that you connect it to. Left hand side there, we've got safety management, it calls it. This is basically the ports and the services that are running on this device. So again, you can see by default, it's port 80 HTTP. Using HTTPS, it's 443. If you want to use the SSH service, that's turned off. You can turn it on. And SADP is turned on. If we turned off SADP, it would not be discoverable. Log management, we can see the logs of the device, so what's been going on with it. The system tool, so we can do network diagnostics, we can do a ping watchdog, we do a wireless bandwidth test, and then finally, about device, is just the open source licenses. So again, as we can see there, lots of settings we can go into, but not much we really need to alter much at this time. So, now that we've obviously gone through that one, and we've taken a look at all the details on the actual AP one, let's take a look at the CP device. So we can see there the IP address is 113. So again, if I just pop up a web browser page, let's pop in the IP address for that one. So that's going to be a 10.3.3.113. Go into that and let's take a look. So yep, don't forget 114 is our AP, 113 is going to be the one that's connected to our IP camera just there. So the username and password, which we already gave these devices earlier. Click login, and let's see any differences. So again, straight away, we've got to do the disclaimer to say we've read it. So we've got to put our country code in there, first of all. And then we've got to click the disclaimer bit. And then, of course, click the button to say that I have read and agree with the terms. Click the tick box, click OK. Click login, and we're in. I'll say the password for this one. So again, very similar sort of process when we log into it immediately from this end of it. Again, at the bottom there, straight away, it's telling me they're connected. We've got a strong connection, obviously back to our main AP from the CPE. We'll go on to the device information, and everything is very similar as what we saw earlier on, including our network statuses and so on. If we go across to network settings, again, network settings, exactly the same. Wireless network settings, again, things are very similar from this point of view as well. So let's go into system management and take a look there. So again, everything's very similar to what we saw earlier. We've got our device maintenance, our time, which of course is not correct. I'll just synchronize that as I did do earlier on. And every other setting we see here is almost exactly the same on the CP device than it was for the access point. Now I know what you're thinking. I've not seen anything there about turning on the PoE out of the actual CP device to power the camera. And there's a reason for that. We've currently got it powered by the DC input. It is important to bear in mind, guys, if you're wanting to use a PoE out of this device, you have to use the PoE injector to power the actual CP device. So what we'll do, we will get it plugged in via the PoE injector, and let's just see what settings change. So, now we've changed that, so we've removed the DC power supply, and we're using the PoE injector. So the blue cable from here is for the PoE injector, and then the grey cable out of LAN 2 is going to our Hikvision turret camera. But again, it's still not applying any PoE yet. But again, we are powering the actual CP device now from the PoE injector. So let's go through the settings and let's see if anything has changed. So we're going to go to System Status. Let's have a look there. And check that out. Straight away now, on the left-hand side, we have an option for PoE status. So that's now telling us the PoE status of the LAN 2 port. As we can see there, again, at my resolution, let me just change the size of the screen, just make it a bit easier so we can see what's going on. It says there that LAN 2 there is, it's got power on and it's power off, and it currently showing that it's powered off at the minute. So again, it is turned off. There is no PoE going to it, but that's what the status is. So when we go to network settings, we go to PoE management, which we didn't have earlier on. And as we can see there, there is our LAN 2 port, and the PoE is disabled by default. So what we do is select LAN 2, change that to enabled, and click OK. That's now saved, and at the bottom there, we now have the option there saying disabled. As you notice now, the light has come on. So because it's applied power to it, that's now booted up the camera. That's why we've got the light on that colour view camera. So LAN 2 now is enabled, and that's now applying power to that colour view turret. If we go back to system status, let's take a look at the PoE status, see how it's changed. Yep, so we can see now that the actual amount of power consumption being applied to the camera is currently 1.6 watts out of available 10 that it has on there. So we can see that it's currently powered on. That's why it's now, it's not grayed out, that's why it's in blue, and it's telling us how much status is being used. And it also tells us what the peak power has been over the last 7 days. It's been 2 watts. That will be in its initial booting up. That would have required that much there. So in the network settings, that's where we've got our PoE management. Dead easy, dead straightforward, and you can see the status there is currently showing as enabled. So theoretically, what should happen now? If I go back to my SADP tool, I should be able to find that camera and log onto the web browser that camera. Again, bear in mind, there is no physical actual wired connection between those two. So let's go back to my SADP tool. Let's just refresh this page and let's see what is now discoverable. So this is a color view turret. So the product code I'm looking for should be a DS-2CD 2347G2 LSU-SL. And there it is at the bottom. It's just appeared there at the bottom as we were speaking. It's already activated. Currently hasn't got an IP just to meet my demand, but what I'll do, I will just change the IP by doing DHCP, as we do. I'll put the password in. Modify. Hopefully that will change the IP details of that turret, and then if I refresh my page again, that should have a new IP address, which it does, ending in 118. If I double click on that one, I should be on the web browser of that camera. What we'll do, we'll just dial in and just make sure that we get the live view from that. So let's take a look. So username, password, something correctly. Click login. Let's take a look. Moment of truth. So there we go. As we can see, there is the actual live view on there now. If I wave my hand up and down, you can see there's my hand in front of the camera. So I'm getting actual live view from that camera, which is connected by the PoE out of this CP device, which creates a wireless link going back to this device here, which, for all intents and purposes, sits at my office network. There we go, everyone. Really straightforward now to commission set these up. The fact that the auto pair out of the box makes our life a whole lot easier. Again, don't forget there is one that is the actual AP that sits at the network end where the customer's NVR is going to be, their home network. That has the PoE in, as we saw there, and obviously a LAN 2 port, which again you don't rarely use. It has got the option to power it by 12-watt power supply. And then you've got the other one, which is the CPE device. This is the one that you connect to the customer's camera, essentially, to get the wireless link back to this one, essentially. Again, if you look underneath, you can see there you've got the LAN 1 port, which is obviously what you power the device with the PoE injector, and then you've got the LAN 2 port, which is obviously has the facility for the PoE out, so long as you're using the PoE injector. So again, just dead straightforward. Again, really easy, you saw. Range of up to 5 kilometers as well, these, again, so they are quite powerful bits of kit. If you are interested in these devices, go to the description below. The link is in there for this bridge kit if you are interested. And as always, if you did like the video, please don't forget that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And as always, hit that bell icon. You'll be able to upload any new videos.